Luke chapter 22, verses 54 to 71 in 3 minutes. Now, the first part of this section deals with Peter and his denial, and this all parallels Jesus and his trial. This text offers great hope to everyone who has tried to follow Christ and come up short, which is all of us. Jesus has been brought to the high priest house for a pre-mock trial, which will precede his real mock trial. Jesus is mocked by his soldiers. They also blindfolded him and kept asking, "Prophesy, who is that struck you?" Ironically, this is something Jesus prophesied, that he would be mocked and beaten in Jerusalem. Now compare the scene to Peter, who's pleasantly warming himself by the fire. They had kindled a fire in the midst of the courtyard and sat down together. Peter sat down among them. Jesus is accused with lies and blasphemy from priests and soldiers, the greatest authorities in Jerusalem. In the face of this, he stays silent. Peter, on the other hand, is accused with the truth from a servant girl, someone from the lowest social rung. She said, "This man also was with him," but he denied it, saying, "Woman, I do not know him." Jesus stands firm in white-hot pressure, while Peter wilts under the mild question of a servant girl. Peter will deny Christ 3 times, while Jesus firmly states the truth about himself in 3 clear ways. First, yet he opened not his mouth, like a lamb that is led to the slaughter. His silence before his oppressors fulfills this prophecy from Isaiah. He tells them, "The Son of Man shall be seated at the right hand of the power of God." This predicts his ascension to heaven and fulfills the messianic Psalm 110. "You say that I am." Now, this is a subtle but sure way of referring to himself as the I am. Jesus is admitting that he is God, a truth that he would be condemned by. Now, the cock would crow for Peter's lies, as Jesus foretold. And so he went out and wept bitterly. And Jesus, in admitting the truth of being God, would go to the cross. For at the words, "I am," they cried, "What further testimony do we need? We have heard it ourselves from his own lips." This comparison between Peter and Jesus shows there's hope for weary sinners. Our hope is not in our own power and faith, but in Jesus Christ. Peter is going to be restored because salvation in Jesus is not dependent on our ability to stand up under pressure, but our salvation is rooted in the life and death of Jesus Christ. We're counted faithful before the Father based on Jesus' faithfulness, which we see powerfully here. And so we read this, we can see there's hope, even when we are weak like Peter, because we trust not in our own strength, but in Christ, who stood firm to the end, giving the good confession.